Hailing from a political family, it seems Hina Rabbani Khar was destined to enter the world of Pakistani politics. At just 25, she was elected to parliament, and less than a decade later, she became the country's youngest and first female foreign minister. During her time in office, Rabbani faced a number of challenges, including a leaked report claiming Pakistan's security services were supporting the Taliban in Afghanistan. Of course, Rabbani denied this, but it's an allegation that still haunts the country today. Last week, a Taliban suicide bomber killed more than 100 people in the Afghan capital, and Kabul was quick to accuse Islamabad of providing support to the attackers. But not long after, Pakistan revealed it recently extradited 27 Taliban and Haqqani militants to Afghanistan. So is it now joining the fight against extremism, or is this an admission of guilt? Well, for more on this, let's speak to Pakistan's former Foreign Minister, Hina Rabbani Khar. She joins us from Lahore. It's great to have you on the Newsmakers. Thanks so much for joining us. We've had more carnage in Kabul, and we have Afghanistan and the United States again blaming Pakistan. Are they accurate, or is it unfair?
Look, we all know that the Afghan adventure in post 9/11 clearly hasn't been able to achieve any of the objectives, whether it was the stated objectives of state building by the Bush era or the objective of ridding this entire region and specifically Afghanistan out from terrorism or terrorism out of Afghanistan of President Obama, or the objective, the stated objective of President Trump of being able to healthily and winningly end this war. So for the 17 years of failure, clearly Pakistan offers itself as a good scapegoat because we happen to be a neighbor. Now, I don't want to go into a blame game because I, frankly speaking, am one person who believes that Pakistan is a country whose future is more linked to that of peace and stability in Afghanistan than that of any other country that you're mentioning, be it our neighbor India, be it your neighbors in your close to your country, or be it the United States of America. Our country's future is linked with stability and peace in Afghanistan more than any other country. So our stakes in Afghanistan are much higher than any other countries because it has a direct effect on the peace and stability of Pakistan. Now, let me ask you two simple questions. First of all, if Pakistan is the country which is always blamed for sending terrorists, trained terrorists, that's the accusation on Pakistan, something as severe and serious as sending trained terrorists across the border to Afghanistan, then answer me this question, then why is it that Pakistan is the one which wants to build border posts and ensure that there is only movement of people who have visas, who are secure, people who are enlisted, people whose record is there? Why are we the ones who are building border posts, and the border posts on our side of the border happen to be 1,000, and that, or 950, but close to 1,000, and that on the other side only 200? And why is that when Pakistan talks about better border management and better border control, we are not helped by anyone, be it the United States of America or the Afghan government? So, this asks you the question that do these countries simply need Pakistan to be a simple, an easy scapegoat to be able to put all the the weight of the failures on Pakistan? Pakistan is a country which has suffered immensely because of this. We happen to have 200,000 people, soldiers on that border. We clearly do not need that if what we want is more chaos in Afghanistan. Then why are we having people soldiering it? In fact, in the last many years, the movement have been the other way around. So I think it's time that we get out of this blame game mode. This country, Afghanistan, has suffered a lot. My country, Pakistan, has suffered a lot. And this entire region has suffered enough. And I think leaders now, the voices which are coming in from Afghanistan, including that of President Ghani, need to understand that it's time to take control of whatever is happening. It's time to collaborate, to cooperate, to clear ourselves from this menace which is mutually killing people on both sides.
Understood.
Extremely important to do that.
And it's interesting because I've spoken to leadership in the PMLN, I've spoken to Imran Khan, I'm speaking to you, a member of the People's Party and former foreign minister. You're all on the same page when it comes to this. You all use the term scapegoat as well. And that's fascinating to hear because there seems to be unity across the political divide on this issue. You asked a couple of questions there, some of them rhetorical. I want to play something from you from the current foreign minister, the man in the seat that you once held, Khwaja Asif. When I spoke to him in December with regards the accusations that Pakistan arms and funds groups like the Haqqani network, this is what he had to say. Have a listen.
You know, we are not backing them at all. This is a perception which was perhaps, as I said earlier, to an extent was correct some 5, 6, 7 years back.
But when did it end?
When we started our operation against them in June 2014.
That jumped out at me, and I had to read the transcript afterwards and just be absolutely sure he actually said that. And I asked him to clarify it, and he did as well. So he basically said, yes, we did sort of keep our options open with these groups, but it ended in 2014. I ask you specifically, and I've been looking forward to asking you this, because you were in office before 2014. So was it happening while you were foreign minister that Pakistan was actually arming and funding groups like the Haqqani network?
No, absolutely. I think this is an entirely irresponsible and factually incorrect statement. I have been on record accepting whatever blame Pakistan, not deserves, but what we have to own in terms of our past mistakes, right? The Pakistan People's Party came into government in 2008, and since then, if you remember, the Malakand operation was the first full-scale military operation that started. It was a turn of events because before that, people coming from parties like the one Mr. Asif represents were trying to make peace with the terrorists, with elements which were harming our people. Now, Pakistan People's Party was the only party who had the guts to stand the ground and say, no, this is not a war which has been imposed on us. Yes, it's a war which is the factor of many, many international adventures within our region. But right now, it is happening on our soil. Right now, it is killing our people. So we need to take a heavy-handed approach of the state ensuring its writ on its geographical territory. So ill-informed, I would say, and perhaps not very well-versed with the historical realities of dealing with terrorism and in Pakistan. This has been a long battle. This will continue to be a long battle, and that is why I would extol upon leadership within the region, including Prime Minister Modi, including President Ghani, all of these people to understand that this is a menace which is a threat to all of us collectively, to this entire region. And this is perhaps the reason why this region plays host to the largest number of poor people in the world. So why are we, or if not the largest, one of the largest, so why are we, if the objective is to blame another country and to scapegoat another country, then we can all play this for the next 100 years. The same game that we played in the last 70 years can be played for the next 100 years.
Right.
So I, for one, want all of our countries, including mine. Pakistan has taken responsibility. Pakistan is ensuring through military operations where we are losing more soldiers than perhaps any other country in the world in this fight. We are in this fight. And I do not understand how a country which is receiving body bags on a daily basis through special operations and other operations on the border area can be blamed to be the cause of this terror.
Right. Massive rift with the US. Some might not say it's massive. I mean, that's debatable, but there's a rift with the US right now. Pakistan seems to be a bit confident about this and thumbing its nose at the US a little. Is it because it has options in China, in Iran, and elsewhere that it can afford to do this, or might this backfire?
No, I refuse to believe this either-or option in foreign policy. I think the United States has been a partner to Pakistan, perhaps not a strategic partner, but a partner to Pakistan in many, many ways in the last many decades. I think it is in our best interests that in the very same way that I mentioned for the region, that the United States of America and Pakistan can work together to align our interests within the region, because our interest in the region, by our I mean obviously that of Pakistan, is to ensure that extremism and terrorism goes to zero, is not reduced but is eliminated completely. I'm quite sure that is the same interest that the United States of America shares, right? Now, obviously, having spent trillions of dollars and having not only achieved status quo, but seeing a dip in the stability within the region, particularly in Afghanistan. Again, Pakistan happens to be an easy scapegoat. Now, let me give you an example. You see, because we hear ad nauseum by the Americans about how the situation in Afghanistan has been improved since they came in. I think we all know that in the last many months, Americans, whether they're soldiers, diplomats, or aid people, once they land in Kabul, the stretch of 2 miles from the Kabul airport to the embassy is now done through helicopter.
Right.
So if we cannot secure 2 kilometers for Americans to tread upon, to be able to travel in, then how can we talk about securing all of Afghanistan? I think the flaw lies in the policy, because in President Trump's statement, you also saw that he was talking about using the military option once again and using that as the only option. And he talked about how he will perhaps one day look at the option of reconciliation. Now, I ask you, then in the last 17 years, military option has been what has been running this policy. Have we succeeded in that? Now, who are we? So if our future policy is based not on learning lessons from the past or from the failures of the past, but almost abiding yourself or committing yourself to repeating the mistakes of the past, then clearly Pakistan cannot look away or say that we are completely in agreement on how to deal with this problem. I think we have a view. I think our view is based on our natural appreciation of the fabric of Afghan society, of the geographical realities, of the societal realities. I think in some ways we have a more educated view than some of our Western friends.
Hina Rabbani Khar, I would love to continue, but I've got to move on. It's been a pleasure having you on The Newsmakers. Thank you very much for joining us.